Okay, so today we're going to talk about some things that might be considered a little controversial and also something that's never been mentioned before. And what's even crazier is that I can't find anything online or on any blogs, nothing like that. But if you're a local, you might know what I'm talking about. But don't spoil it in the comments because we're going to build up to that.
But watch yourself, don't spoil anything.
I'll probably drop this one last, but first I'm going to start with I'm Tony with Your Real Estate Fam, and my partner Jess and I are your #1 relocation team in all of Lower Alabama. So if you're moving here or thinking about moving here, make sure you give us a call and we can go over that process with you because relocating is a huge deal. Okay, so I'm going to talk about 10 rumors you might have heard about Alabama, or more specifically Lower Alabama. Now onto the first rumor. Number 1 is Lower Alabama all old people. No. LA is not all old fogies or boomers, but you can definitely expect to see retirees out and enjoying their retirement. Warm weather and tax breaks are a big deal for retired folks, and I don't blame them. Them wanting to come down here and enjoy Alabama, who would? It's definitely not a busy metro where you can go clubbing or anything like that. I'd say it's more of a utopia for families, and that goes for retirees, middle-aged families like myself who have older and younger kids. And whether it's a youth group at the church or, for the older kids, or letting the kids run out back with the other little boogers in town, there's something for them to do. The same goes for those mamas who want to have play dates with their youngins and take them on a stroll through the neighborhood with their strollers. It's definitely got that suburban feel with options for everyone. Number 2, another one that gets mentioned a lot is golf carts. I'd say we're definitely a golf cart community.
Dude, where's my golf cart? Oh, funny.
And don't be surprised to see people cruising down the streets that are, 35 miles per hour or less. You still have to abide by Alabama law if you're driving on those busy roads, but if you're just driving around your neighborhood, like, within your subdivision, most people are pretty lenient. And I mean, there's always that one person out there. But for the most part, you're gonna be okay. And I personally love it. I cruise around and take advantage of our beautiful weather and just zip around the neighborhood in our golf cart like I'm a little kid in a candy store. And just so you know, it's not just me. Everybody is cruising around just loving life. Speaking of just loving life, number 3 is another common rumor that it's all snowbirds down here. And I hate to burst your bubble on this one, but that's definitely far from the truth.
That's just not true.
Now, I'm not saying we don't get the seasonal snowbird who flies down.
I called these boys my snowbirds, and we could fly through anything.
But there's definitely more locals than there are snowbirds. This isn't the villages or Florida in general. We may have golf carts, but we're not a transplant haven like it is down there. And yes, I'm a transplant myself, and we do have transplants, but we live here full time and love the southern culture of Lower Alabama.
Experience all the southern hospitality.
You'll hear from a lot of the locals that they clog up our roads and they don't pay their full share of taxes since they don't live here full time, or once they do move here full time, because let's be real, who doesn't want to live in paradise?
We all live in paradise.
But once they do, they don't want to pay for schools and police or infrastructure of any kind, or things that benefit the community. And I'm not saying this is true, but I can tell you what locals think, and they think they have zero connection to our Alabamians. They lived wherever they came from for a long time and just move here to live as cheaply and as pleasantly as possible, no matter what that looks like to our community. So take into consideration and prove those guys wrong, and just don't be that guy.
I will prove it.
Number 4, another big rumor we hear is that locals are racist, or that this is the redneck Riviera, or farmers, and that everyone likes to hunt and fish and vote for Trump. Now, I'm not saying some of that doesn't exist down here, because it does. That's everywhere.
I see it everywhere.
But what I can say is that this is probably the least prejudiced place I've ever lived in my entire life. In fact, this is by far the nicest, friendliest place I've ever lived, and everyone is just happy in general. I personally love the fact that they stick to their roots and stand up for what they believe in. But they do all that without bigotry. Yes, they'll tell you they vote for Trump, and yes, they'll talk about hunting and having deer mounts on the walls, but again, that's what makes it Alabama. Plus, who doesn't want to see an 8 or 9 point rack, and chances are they'll have some venison to share and for everybody to enjoy. I wouldn't want it any other way. So if you're thinking about coming down, make sure you think about what you're getting yourself into, because I promise you, they're not in the business to let someone just come in and persuade them into different beliefs. Trust me, they're not.
You're not gonna try and change my mind?
And if you take anything from this video, make sure it's this right here. Next on my list at number 5 is the other side of leisurely activities that you may hear everyone does down here when, you're just living your best beach life. Being so close to so many bodies of water, going boating and kayaking and paddleboarding and swimming, or even just relaxing on the beach. So not everyone participates in these, water sports, but I know a lot of people who do, and if they don't want to, they're at least going to the beach at some point. I even hear from people who don't like sitting at the beach talk about how they went there for their friends and their family, so there's kind of no way around it.
I hate the ocean, and I hate the beach, and I hate the sun.
Now, when it comes to golf, I think everyone should get on board, because this is something you can do year-round, and you will not be disappointed with any of our golf courses. And I can never have too many hunting or golfing buddies, so let me know.
Let's go hunting, boys.
Getting back to the list at number 6, you may have also heard Alabama is in the Bible Belt. And for those of you who don't know, the term Bible Belt refers to an area known for its conservative religious attitudes, their Christian beliefs, and high church attendance. Just like any other place, there's a diverse range in beliefs, and some people take it a little more seriously.
No, I get that. I love Jesus too.
For example, the landscape company I personally use is called Firmly Rooted, which is a religious term meaning that they're firmly rooted with Christ. So don't be shocked when you see this, or when you see prayers before your football game, or before your wife has wrist surgery, or the last day of school when the teacher gives every single student in her class a pocket Bible. And if you haven't noticed, I'm talking about real life scenarios here.
It's pretty true to life, actually.
It's just part of the Alabama culture. Next, coming in at number 7 is the summer heat and what it brings. People always think there's gonna be huge snakes and spiders or roaches just swarming you at all times.
Let's go!
And it's not like that. Do we have them? Yeah, of course. But it's not like the plague where you can't walk to your destination because there's just a swarm of bugs. But they are here, along with some pretty cool animals and fish. So if you can't get used to gators and sharks and cottonmouths while fishing in the brackish waters, then you might want to rethink your move to our beloved LA. Number 8 is also one of my favorite things to hear, and that's the greenery we have. With summer being here most of the damn year, we get a lot of sunshine, which means all of our plants, trees, gardens, and everything else that blooms is gonna make everything, bloom most of the year. So if you're looking to plant something exotic or get those palm trees that you've always wanted, then you're in luck, because we get a lot of rain to water all of that and then some.
It's full of the most wonderful blooms.
And that brings us to our next topic of discussion. Number 9 is another scary one, and yet one of my favorites too, and that's the weather. We get hurricanes, obviously, with being, close to the water. And if you're on the water, then you'll probably need flood insurance on top of that hurricane coverage. But if you're not directly in a floodplain, then you'll more than likely be okay. And we have the occasional tornado, but I can't say that we've ever encountered one since moving here. And that's going on about 10 years. So I think you'll be all right.
Just take it easy and you'll be fine.
Now, one thing you may not have heard of is that we have hurricane or tropical storm parties when the weather gets really bad. So even though you're in a scary situation, it's still a really good time. We all just, hope it doesn't come straight at us, and statistically, we've been doing all right. Now, what I've been waiting to talk about is number 10, and that's the upside down pineapple. I never heard of this before moving here, and that's the upside down pineapple is an identifying symbol that swingers use to recognize each other in public.
We don't know anything about this swinger business.
It signals to others that, you're interested in swinging. So if you go to someone's house and you see a bunch of subtle upside down pineapples all over the walls or in the bathrooms, then you might have entered the danger zone.
It's not safe here, and we need to leave now.
I find it pretty funny actually, and whenever I go out and see a freestanding pineapple, I may or may not be the person who turns it upside down just to see the reactions of everyone's face that is walking by. And honestly, I think it's pretty hilarious, and Jess just thinks I'm an idiot and I'm a big kid, and I mean, I can't blame her, but it's just too funny not to do. With that said, the life here in Lower Alabama is unparalleled. It's by far the nicest, safest, most down-to-earth place I've ever lived. And if you're looking to call this place home too, then make sure you give us a call or shoot us a text or set up a meeting with us by using our calendar in the description below to get started on your move. And I'll see y'all on the next video.